Hi, welcome to the video on area of circles. What we're going to do in this video is we're going to calculate the area of circles, and I'm also going to show you how to work backwards when I give you the area, how you can find the radius, the diameter, the circumference, pretty much anything else you need. Alright? But first things first, we need to know what the formula for area of a circle is. The area formula for a circle is pi times the radius squared. Alright? You can use 3.14 for pi if you'd like. If you have a calculator that has a value for pi, I would suggest you use that. It's a little more accurate. So pi times the radius squared, or pi times the radius times the radius. That's what squared means. Multiply by it twice. Okay, not 2 times it, but radius times radius. It's a pretty straightforward formula. There's really not a whole lot to do with it. So what we're going to do is look at our circle, the first one you have here. You see this measurement here. This line is 7.9 inches, and hopefully you remember that that is a radius. Well, that's easy then. If this is my radius, well, let's plug it into the area formula. There's only 2 variables in the area formula. You got your area and you got your radius. I either give you the radius, or I give you a way to get the radius, or I give you the area and ask for the radius. It's got to be one or the other. So area equals pi is always pi times the radius squared. Well, the radius is 7.9 inches. And it says to square that number. So literally all you're going to do is type in your calculator pi times 7.9 squared, or pi times 7.9 times 7.9. And you will get 196.07 square inches or inches squared. Now again, if you don't have a calculator like this that actually has a key that will square things for you, if you have a very basic calculator or you're using your phone and it doesn't have that function, actually type pi times 7.9 times 7.9 again. That'll take care of the squaring for you. Or if you don't have pi on the calculator either, 3.14 times 7.9 times 7.9. And you should still get an answer very, very close to this. If you use 3.14, your answer will be slightly smaller. It might be like 196.02 or something like that. It'll be smaller. Okay? The second problem is pretty much along the same lines. The only way I trick you here is that instead of giving you the radius, I gave you this line, which hopefully you remember is a diameter. The diameter is 12. Well, if you know the diameter, you pretty much know the radius. The radius is half of the diameter, and half of 12 means that the radius is 6 feet. So once you know the radius, you're going to go at this one more time. The area is pi times the radius squared. So pi times, in this case, 6 feet squared. Oops. 6 feet squared. And again, typing this in the calculator, pi times 6 squared, or pi times 6 times 6, or 3.14 times 6 times 6, they will all give you pretty much the same answer. You will get 113 point, rounding to the nearest hundredth, you go 0.10, or 0.1 feet squared. Okay? And that's pretty much it. If you were given the radius, do that. If you're given the diameter, take half it, get the radius. The only other thing I could really throw at you is I could give you the circumference, in which case you would divide that by pi to get the diameter, and then divide that by 2 to get the radius. I mean, that's the only other thing I could possibly throw at you, and I don't know if I'm going to do that on the next test or not. If I do, then I will certainly show you one more video in which I do that. And I'll do it in class many, many times. The last problem you see there, you don't have a measurement in the circle. You don't know the radius, you don't know the diameter, you don't know the circumference. But if you look right above the circle, you see that I did give you the area. Just like all the other formulas, I'm going to show you how to go backwards. If I give you the area, how to get the measurement in the formula. So let's see. If I know the area is 121.32 inches squared, I'm going to put that in the formula here. The formula is A equals I times the radius squared. So instead of A, I'm going to write that. I'm going to write 121.32 inches squared. 121.32 inches squared. And then equals. I'm going to fill in what I know. Times pi times the radius squared. I don't know the radius, so I'm just going to write pi times radius squared. I think this is one of the, aside from rectangles, I think this is probably one of the easiest formulas to work with. There's not really any change. I can't do anything else with it, really. Okay, the only difference in this formula is this square thing. We haven't really dealt with that in geometry yet. this is pretty much the first time we're encountering it. But we will use it more and more as we go along. So let's solve this as though it's just pi times r. I think you guys know how to do that. If you were solving for r and you were multiplying by pi, well, you would divide. So we're going to divide both sides by pi. That's not new. That is the same. So 121.32 divided by pi, again, if you don't have the pi key, then you'll use 3.14. And if you do that, you'll get a slightly different answer than me, but that's okay. You'll get 38.62 inches. Again, I'm rounding to the nearest hundredth. And now we would be done if this was just r, but this is r to the second power. We're wondering what number times itself, what radius times that same radius gives me 38.62. So I mean, if you think about it, you can kind of figure out what it might be. Let's see, if we think about our squares, 1 times 1 is 1, 2 times 2 is 4, 3 times 3 is 9, 4 times 4 is 16, still not really close to it. 5 times 5 is 25, getting closer. 6 times 6 is 36, so it's very close to 6. 7 times 7 is 49, so this number is clearly between 6 and 7. 6 squared is 36, and 7 squared is 49. Here's how you actually figured it out. Now there is a very long process to take square roots by hand. You don't have to worry about that. Get a calculator and use the square root key. It's the thing that looks like this. Okay, that's called a radical sign. What you're going to do is you're going to take the square root of this sign, or this side, and the square root of that side. The reason we take the square root is because the square root is the inverse operation, the opposite of squaring something. Okay? When you take the square root of r squared, you get r. When you take the square root of the radius squared, you just get the radius. Okay? Just like multiplication, division are opposites, addition and subtraction are opposites, the square root and squaring something are opposites. Now, if you take the square root of 38.62, you will get 6.21 inches. Oh, this was inches squared here, sorry. 6.21 inches. And the square root of inches squared is inches. Okay? So the radius is 6.21 inches long. That's pretty much it. If I ask you for the radius, you're done. If I ask you for the diameter, well, it's not much harder. The diameter is double the radius. So in this case, the diameter would be 2 times 6.21, so it would be 12.42 inches. And that's it. I mean, the only other thing I could ask you for really is circumference, maybe arc length. But I mean, I've shown you how to do that before. That's in other videos for another time. Circumference, you would just multiply that by pi and you're done. Arc length, I'd have to give you an arc measurement first. An arc measure in degrees or radians, and we didn't do that here. Don't worry about that for now. Alright, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them down below in the comment box, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. And that's about it for area of circles. I can't think of anything else that I missed. And I will see you in class, and I hope this helped. Alright, have a great day.